Welcome to the show.
Welcome back to our channel, everyone. I'm Stefan.
I'm Amanda.
And we're the parents behind Raising A to Z. We're two teachers who also homeschool our kids, and that's what our channel's about.
And today we are comparing homeschooling and
with emergency distance learning.
Yes. With a lot of school districts and areas doing learning at home through their emergency distance learning programs, a lot of people are calling it homeschooling, and it's not. So we thought we would compare and contrast them a little bit and explain how they're different today.
Yeah.
So first thing we're going to talk about is what is homeschooling. And so homeschooling is a decision and a choice that a family makes to educate their kids at home. And I think the big part here is that it is a choice. It is the decision of the family and the parents that have made the decision to homeschool.
Sometimes it's not a good choice. Sometimes it's because of bullying or things like that, but it is a choice.
Yes, they've made that decision.
So emergency distance learning is government-imposed learning during an emergency like the current COVID-19 pandemic.
Homeschooling, one of the big differences between homeschooling and emergency distance learning is that families and parents make the decision as to what they're going to study, when they're going to study it, and what approach they're going to use. So parents can choose what kind of curriculum they want, what topics are going to be studied, and children too, right? And children, yeah. So like kids, we do a lot of project-based learning or interest-based learning, and
following kids' interests. And
so there's that, because it ends up being a little bit less of a struggle when kids are excited to learn, or they have made the decision to participate in the learning because there's something they're excited about.
Emergency distance learning, by contrast, everything is determined by the government, by the school boards, the districts, and by the teachers. So the when, the what, and the how. Kids are following their same regular school day. Learning is happening only between 9 and 3. And they're following their regular class schedule, their regular bell schedule. Lunch is at the same time. They have to be in front of a device most often, and teachers are doing video meetings and all that sort of stuff, and delivering their content, their course curriculum through those means. And they're also taking attendance, which is so bizarre during a health crisis that they're wanting to see that kids are taking part in their schooling in their regular times. The kids are either at home or they're working essential jobs. Many of them are having to pick up extra shifts to help support their families, or become babysitters for their younger siblings, or being babysat by older siblings. When they're trying to say that they need to be flexible, it's really not always flexible.
So homeschooling is very family focused. Like we said, it's a family choice and a family lifestyle, and it's very family focused, which means that families can adjust their schedules and their approaches depending on what's going on in their lives. And so a lot of homeschooling families can take breaks when they're going through stressful situations, such as having a baby, going through critical illnesses, a job loss, or financial stresses. They can either take a break, adjust their approach. And so they have that flexibility because they are in control of the educational decisions that happen in their home. Yeah. So for example, typically we do a little bit of book work and like workbook work. Mm-hmm. But lately we've been taking more of an unschooling approach these last couple of weeks in quarantine, because that's just been what's working for us. And the best thing for our family's physical and mental health is to be doing more unschooling than book work.
The flexibility, right?
Yeah.
So with emergency distance learning, the intent isn't super clear. Even the name itself, it's called emergency distance learning, but really that implies that the learning is the emergency, but it's not. It's not the emergency. The emergency is the health crisis right now. And so, some teachers we're all doing our best, and teachers are providing support where they can, and for students in whatever different ways that they need support. But teachers are rule followers. So when the government says teacher-led learning, some of them are giving quite a bit of work, extra high expectations, and are loading on the assignments, and some of them are even giving tests to their students, which is an added stress and not one that a lot of families need right now.
Well, we've even seen detailed kindergarten schedules going out every moment of their day, planned for them, and the expectation that parents can follow that, or PE lessons being handed out to families.
Yeah.
And it's just not realistic for a lot of families to follow them to that strict of a schedule and T.
And so that government-led, teacher-led learning has come into the homes, and a lot of parents are finding themselves now, unexpected volunteers in that system, and not everybody's in a position to be able to do that right now.
The cool thing about homeschooling is that it can be kind of done at any budget. We have a video about how can you homeschool for free, and we have some videos about how to save money homeschooling, but really homeschooling can be done at any budget, whether you have a device or not. So there's a lot of options when it comes to that, and a lot of financial freedom that it comes when you are deciding to homeschool, in that sense that you can pick what your approach is going to be and what your financial investment in your homeschooling is going to be. And that's, again, family based, right? So it's individual to each family.
I know in Ontario right now they're doing great work at trying to get devices into everybody's hands. But the thing is, it's kind of coming up that a lot of rural parts of Ontario don't have great internet access. So even if they have a device in hand, having access to the internet is posing a problem.
Or not having the right device.
Yeah, and so we have families that have 3-4 kids, and trying to figure out who's going to share what devices when, and have the correct device to be able to do work for that course at that specific time during the mandated times that the classes are.
Yeah, because it's okay to watch a video on an iPad. It's really hard to write a 3-page essay on one.
Yeah, for sure.
So things like that. The term homeschooling is a little bit of a misnomer, because a lot of people think that means that you're just doing all your education at home. But the fact is, homeschooling is more of a lifestyle, and it's about not just you might do your book work at home, but a lot of the education components that people include in their homeschooling are done in the real world, whether it's at co-op classes or museums and science centers. Sometimes you have, learning life skills or learning in nature and going for nature walks on a regular basis. So homeschooling is not normally done just sitting at home, not leaving the house for days and days on end, which is, I get that this is an unusual situation, this whole pandemic thing, and as homeschoolers, we're finding it hard because we can't go to any of the places that we would normally visit either. But normally, in normal circumstances, homeschoolers are out, we're very social, and we're learning a lot from just life in general as we're going through the big, real wide world.
Yep. And with emergency distance learning, it's happening at home, it's happening at specific times during the day, it's happening on a device most of the time, requiring the internet. And it's teacher-led, which it takes away that trust that students are able to learn on their own. I think it's it can be harmful because we're humans. Humans love to learn for the most part, and so when you say that learning is not happening if there's no teacher there, I think that can be a dangerous thing in the long run. And so now with emergency distance learning, we're filling up their days, and they're no longer able to explore their own interests or find the things that they need during this health crisis. Their days are being filled up, and they don't have time to discover their own passions and their own interests anymore. Or
they don't have even downtime.
Yeah. Some of them are, like we mentioned before, if they're working full time and then having to come home and do all that learning at night, like there's no need for that right now.
Yeah, we've noticed that there's kind of two schools of thought that come out of all of this homeschooling and emergency distance learning. It's some families are really put off of homeschooling because of the stress of this emergency distance learning, and then there's some people who are just totally embracing homeschooling as a way to get out of the emergency distance learning. So first off, we want to say that emergency distance learning is probably a lot harder than homeschooling, because you have so many things that are being imposed on you and you don't have much control over that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that are being turned off of the education system right now because of that. A lot of parents that are considering taking their kids out of schools because of the way this emergency distance learning is being rolled out.
And there's a lot of people who are concerned about homeschooling because the distance learning is so stressful for them right now. We just want to say that that's not homeschooling. Like we said, there's a big difference. Distance learning is much more difficult than homeschooling. If you have any questions or you want to get more information about homeschooling and what it's really like, feel free to reach out to us or any other homeschoolers. You can follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and people send us DMs all the time, and we definitely get back to them. You can leave a comment below and we'll answer your questions. We love helping people start their homeschooling journey. In fact, we actually wrote a book about it. If you want to buy that book, How to Start Homeschooling When You Have No Idea Where to Start, we'll leave a link below. And
make sure if you like the video, hit like, share it, make sure you subscribe and click on the bell and all that stuff.
And thanks for watching. We'll have a new video up for you guys next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.